Hi there guys, so Deontay Wilder, is he on a roll or is he on a roll? Because now he has claimed that his trainer Mark Breland spiked his water to give him a muscle relaxer, and that was what caused him to have no control over his body and for his legs to be weak. Now, he's gone off about Kenny Bayless, who, if anything, I think that he was more favoured towards Deontay Wilder in the fight because Tyson Fury had a point taken away, and yes, Fury was making it rough, but Wilder was contributing to that as well, and ultimately that didn't warrant a point taken off from Tyson Fury. So Fury was almost fighting two guys in there with Wilder. So if anything, Kenny Bayless was actually favouring Wilder as opposed to Tyson Fury. So those claims are just ridiculous. Now, the water being spiked by his trainer, Mark Breland. Now, he's throwing his toys out of the pram, and he needs an excuse. That is what he is desperately searching for. And it's the gloves, it's Mark Breland, it's the ref in the fight. So he's looking for something, for a reason why he lost this fight. And that is why there are so many conspiracy theories. Have you ever heard so many of them from one single fight? It seemed like the world was against Deontay Wilder. That is what he is getting at. The ref, Tyson Fury's gloves, people behind the scenes, his trainer. Tyson Fury won the fight fair and square. Deontay Wilder needs to get on with it and just come back. But he's not going to be able to do that now because his legacy, or whether it was a legacy or not, has now been tarnished by this. So you have to wonder if Wilder can even come back from this. How can you say things like this and be disrespectful to the sport? The sport is struggling enough as it is. It does not need someone like him making these conspiracy theories. It's just making it worse for himself, and Mark Breland is the hero. He saved Wilder in that fight when no one else in his team had the integrity to do so. Throwing the towel was completely the right thing to do from Mark Breland because Mark Breland was someone who has been there before, so he knew exactly what he was doing. J Diaz didn't, so if anyone was qualified to throw that towel, it was him. Not even a J Diaz, because he didn't. He did not try to save his man for another day. Mark Breland did. Now, in addition to this, he also said that Mark Breland was unloyal, and he said that in round 7, he was getting himself back together, and all of a sudden, the towel is thrown in. Getting himself back together, he was all over the shop. He was up and down like a yo-yo. So, getting himself back together, that is completely ludicrous. He was not getting himself back together. He was getting beaten upon by Tyson Fury. Bad things were going to happen if the towel did not come in. Luckily it did for Wilder. He was backed up in the corner. Tyson Fury landed a few crisp punches, backing him up into the corner. As soon as Wilder came out, Tyson Fury stepped back in, back into the pocket, and started beating on him. So if the towel hadn't come in, the ref should have stopped it because Wilder was in no fit state to continue. Just the round before that, in his corner, his head was in his lap, the towel over his head, his trainer rubbing the towel over his head. So Wilder was done. He was out of the fight. Mentally, he had taken himself out of the fight. He was just in there, standing, or up and down like a yo-yo. Wilder could not continue. Wilder was out of the fight. There was no way back for him. Yes, he was tired. That was because of Tyson Fury, a 19-stone man, leaning on him, beating on him, hitting him to the body, knocking him down continuously. That is what tired him out. No muscle relaxants or anything like that would have done it. It was Wilder getting tired because he was the smaller man and he was getting beaten upon by the bigger man, someone who is stronger and just as powerful, if not more powerful than him, because Wilder has this thing around him, the most powerful heavyweight puncher in history. That was proven wrong on that night. Tyson Fury was proven to be the faster, more powerful, and the better boxer, and the tougher guy in there. Wilder just cannot take that. That is where all of these conspiracy theories are stemming from. And not only has his fans made conspiracy theories, he's now making them himself. He will go down in history as the guy who could not take a loss, not as the guy who was WBC World Champion. Plus, if there was a muscle relaxant ingested by Deontay Wilder, you know how that would come out? In a drug test. That would flag up straight away. So Wilder was not getting himself back together in that 7th round. He lost every single round on the scorecards in my opinion. He was behind. He was getting beaten up. And he wasn't moments away from springing this incredible comeback. He was moments away from being badly hurt. He couldn't even land that right hand. After the 3rd round, he barely even landed a punch on Tyson Fury because he was done. He was knackered, tired. That was not a result of muscle relaxants. That was a result of a Tyson Fury being the more physically imposing man in there what he planned to do, going in at 19 stone and looking to walk Deontay Wilder down. Wilder's never been in that position before, so yes, he's going to look for these excuses, but the reason why it happened is because he was going from fighting guys who are C-level heavyweights to Tyson Fury, who is an elite level fighter. That is the difference. That's the difference in class that Wilder just could not deal with. And do you know why? It's because Wilder is not at that level. He's nowhere near the level of a Tyson Fury. That has been proven now in the fight and after the fight. Yes, he's looking for these conspiracy theories because he doesn't know how someone can beat him that badly, considering he's had 40 or more knockouts over fighters in the heavyweight division. But he has to remember, those were C-level opponents. Tyson Fury, as I said, is an elite level fighter. He doesn't understand. That is where it all stems from. He doesn't understand that a fighter can beat him that badly. But ultimately, when you go through the levels and jump up to Tyson Fury's level, that is what will happen when someone like Deontay Wilder, who cannot box, who has one big right hand, he's a one-trick pony. Yes, it's a hell of a trick, but it does not work when you're at elite level. You cannot just go in there expecting one big punch to land. No, he wasn't coming back into the fight. No, his water wasn't spiked. No, there was no glove tampering. Deontay Wilder lost the fight fair and square. Until he accepts that and moves on, he will not be able to move forwards. And how come now all of a sudden it's about muscle relaxant instead of the costume? The costume was the thing that took his legs away apparently. Now it's a muscle relaxant put into his water by a disgruntled trainer in Mark Breland. And I'm pretty sure if he had a muscle relaxant, he would not have made his way up to the ring, up the stairs, with that costume on, £40. If he had a muscle relaxant, he would not have made it up there that easily. So ultimately, Deontay Wilder is searching, he's reaching. And all he is doing by doing this is damaging the sport of boxing, so it needs to stop. And do you want to know how we can tell he is lying, how he is reaching for these conspiracy theories? Is because someone who is telling the truth cannot change their story because they only have one story to tell. That is the truth. Someone who is lying and searching for these conspiracy theories will change their story because they are trying to make someone believe them. That is what Wilder is doing. Whereas if you are telling the truth, they have no other story to change to. The truth is the only story that they can tell. How many times has Wilder changed his story? Multiple times. That proves that he is lying. Because first of all, it was the costume that cost him. It was the costume that was so heavy, £40, that he normally trains in anyway, because apparently he trains in a £40 vest. So it was the costume that cost him, that took his legs away in the early stages of the fight, and he could not recover. But now he has changed that to maybe Mark Breland put something in his water. So he's constantly changing the story that he previously had. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.